And here we are, spawning in the upper left. In the blue, he's stats. And in the bottom right, in the red, he is the biggest of players for Mouse Esports. He's HEROMARINE. Alright, so the question here is, what is HEROMARINE going to go for in this game, number one? That is a spooky SCV indeed, and we got a proxy coming on in this game, number one. This should be Proxy Reaper, as we do see gas on the way. I believe this will be only a single barracks, just to get that Reaper out earlier. And this is actually a really cool position, because what we're going to see here is HEROMARINE is going to go, and he's going to build the barracks, and he's going to lift it to the other side of the minerals, then drop it down. This is something that you would see a decent amount of in Brood War. But again, this is StarCraft 2. The maps don't tend to be made like that. Not anymore. But hey, they are in this map. And you do have the opportunity for that. But anyway, we're going to have to see what happens here. As the barracks is now done. There we go. It should lift. And it looks like that is... Yep, it has lifted. And now it will land on the other side of the map. Or, excuse me, the other side of the mineral line. It is on the other side of the map from HEROMARINE. But anyway, Stats has scouted this. And I got to question this approach into in a best of 5 against Stats. Well, we talk about Showtime as being Demour, as being the wall, the great unbreakable European force. Well, turn that up to 11 when we look at Stats here. Stats is probably one of the best, is the best defensive Protoss in the world. It is so hard to break him. It is so hard to break him in a single game, much less a series. That, well, you got to question the decision there just a little bit. Now the Reaper will go on into the main base. Stats already has that Zealot, and of course the goal of that Zealot is to make sure that he just tanks damage. So to make sure that Stats does not lose any probes. But actually, no, Stats not microing as appropriately as he would like, because, well, that it looks like that Zealot will have to go down into the natural and deal with the bunker. So already 2 probes have gone down. Now the bunker will not go up, and that is something that Stats does have going for him here. He will be able to mine from the natural eventually, but now we have 2 Reapers on the way. We have 2 Reapers on the map, not even on the way anymore. And once again, HEROMARINE is going to look to be a little bit aggressive. Now he will not really be able to get a whole lot here. The Stalker does come out, and Reapers will be forced back. Realistically, I think I would have liked to see HEROMARINE stay on one Reaper and not really go into that 2 Reaper, not really invest that extra gas, invest those extra minerals, invest that extra build time, invest that delayed travel time, because now, of course, well, the barracks, it's floating its way home. It cannot produce. But I guess having the 2 Reapers here does mean that you can kind of go for that TVT-esque 2 Reaper, 3 Hellion type of thing, where you run on in, you bounce the wall. But that doesn't even look like what HEROMARINE is going for here, as we do have a Widowmine done, a second one on the way, and I would not be surprised to see, yeah, looks like we will see Widowmine drops coming out of this, as there we have the medevac on the way as well. So HEROMARINE, very interested. Oh, nope, never mind. I was going to say he had the opportunity to get on into the natural, but nope. Did not see it, or did not want to lose the units at that time, either or. But anyways, that is what we see here in this game number 1. Now, HEROMARINE behind this, he says, okay, well, things didn't work out as well as I would have liked. Realistically, I didn't commit a ton. I just committed some lost Marines, kind of. And, well, so yes, I some lot build time, maybe 25 extra gas, but yeah, it's going to be fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build my 3rd command center before 4 minutes. I'm not going to do one of those really aggressive +1 stim combat shield timings. Realistically, I can't. I cannot start my stim. I cannot start my combat shields. I cannot get enough Marines out to really make that work. Instead, I'm going to get my 3rd base. I'm going to try to put myself in a solid economic position. And you got to remember, in this game, okay, now we do have this Hold That Thought medevac coming on in here. Now, Stats is well aware of this, but he's not pulling it till the last second. There we go. Okay, the pull is good. 1 probe will go down. Now, we're going to have to see what happens in the main base. Stats does not really appear to be paying attention for the moment. Now he will be, and the probes should be able to clear out in time. 2 workers for 2 Widowmines. Yeah, just about what you would expect. All right, now the Reaper will be able to go down and not... Yep. Benefits of 2 Reapers. You can knock down pylons at some speed. It's not the fastest speed, but it is a speed. And now that just means that the third base is maybe a little bit less defensible. It's not going to be as easy to get your static defenses up. No shield battery on the third base. It means that theoretically, HEROMARINE can hit a nice timing, but you've got to remember, HEROMARINE, he's not looking for that timing. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. We don't even see stim on the way yet. We should start to see that within the next 10 seconds. But I mean, HEROMARINE is just trying to be as economic as possible. He's sitting here for the moment. He was only 2 workers down compared to his opponent, and that is significant. As a Protoss player, you kind of want to be a little more ahead than that. But now, well, stats, he's got 3 workers coming on in at a time, and that gap should start to build itself once again, as Blink is now done. This is, of course, 1 gate Blink. I don't think I've ever seen 1 gate Blink. 3 more gates on the way, of course, so we'll be going up to 4 gate Blink, but Stats, oh man, Stats cut so many corners after he defended that. He says, you know what? I know because of the build time that you committed for these Reapers, I know you won't be able to hit that +1 stim, combat shield, 7-minute timing. I can get away with only getting 1 gateway worth of production, and that means I'm going to be able to get my third base faster, I'm going to be able to get my tech faster, I'm going to be able to get everything faster. And yeah, it's actually absolutely going to pay off for him here. Really nice decision there from Stats. He doesn't have to pay for the gateway. He doesn't have to pay for the units coming out of the gateway. And that is a pretty good situation for our Afrika Freaks Protoss player. Now, HEROMARINE, he's not without aggressive options. In this game, yeah, the first couple didn't work out. But now the Raven's going to find its way in, and Ravens just do so much damage to pros. Auto turrets, I should say auto turrets do damage. So 2 pro workers will go down. We should now see an auto turret in the main base. 3 will actually go down here. But now Stats, he's got the warp in, and he should not... will barely not get that. Well, actually not barely. Will not be able to get that Raven. But now Stim is done. Combat shields, concussive shells are both just about done here, as well as 1-1. So, yeah, actually we do see HEROMARINE moving out here. He's got a really good timing coming up in just about 20 seconds maybe, when 1-1 is done, just about when he hits the other side of the map. And I do like this, taking use of that timing. 1-1 will be done, combat shields, concussive shells. This is just going to be such an incredible power spike for the red Terran player. And notice, Stats has not mined out any of these minerals yet. That means that these tanks are just going to have such a good sieged up position here. Now there we have the drop coming onto their side of the map. The tanks, of course, will will provide a strong defensive position for HEROMARINE's army to go on and sit on under. Now I would like to see the rest of the army kind of move on to the other side, but that's not what we see yet. And okay, actually with this Colossus here, it looks like we will have an engagement coming on in. Now the tanks, they're just firing ahead, really target firing this Colossus down. Colossus goes down. The entire Protoss army is just kind of melting here. And yes, well, army on the right-hand side is not going to be that great, but that was not a good fight for Stats in this last. Maybe he felt that he had to take that fight before HEROMARINE got really entrenched, but that is not good whatsoever. Yeah, eventually now this army is going to get picked up. Not even. The tank will go down, but look how little army Stats has now to bring to bear. Does he have 1 Colossus? No, he does not. The next Colossus is now on the way. So, Stats, he's got a 4th base. Yeah, he's at 67 workers, absolutely. Excuse me. Sorry, did not mean to hit my microphone. Yeah, he's got +1. HEROMARINE has 1-1. 2-2 is on the way, and HEROMARINE's army is just so much better at this point. The rally is coming on in, and this is just not an army that Stats can fight. Yeah, now this will be Charge Lot Archon for the moment, but with these Widow Mines coming on in, they will be able to target everything down. Archons will die, Stalkers will die, everything will die, and HEROMARINE is going to take game number 1. HEROMARINE, his first aggression, not really getting a lot done. Two probes, sure, not the best, but realistically, you kind of expect to lose a probe or 2. But that is not what happened. Or I should say that's what happened, but Stats maybe not able to get quite greedy enough, and then he just got batted aside by the tremendous force that was that 1-1 timing push from the Terran player. But now it's time to get on in to game number 2. All right. We got everyone loaded on up, ready to go here in game number 2. In the bottom left, in the blue for the Afrika Freaks, down 1-0 in this best of 5. It's Stats. And in the upper left, in the red, the biggest of games for Mouse Esports, it's HEROMARINE. So game number 1, HEROMARINE just hit a really, really crisp timing. It worked out incredibly well for him. But now it's time for game number 2. We're going to have to see what we got coming here from the Mao's Terran player, but also from Stats. He fell down to that attack. He really took an ill-advised fight, but I'm not exactly sure what he was supposed to do without mining out those minerals, without having some army on the other side of the map. And that lack of gateways, that lack of standing army, really did come back to bite him just a little. Now, he did have his gateways done, but he just really didn't have the army that could deal with the tanks was the important thing. Yeah, charge was done. Yeah, blink was done, but charge couldn't get in contact with the tanks. That was not the normal hold that you would expect, where you just charge lots, get on top of the tanks, you're fine. Instead, well, the tanks were behind a wall. So yeah, the charge lots were able to get in contact with the Terran army, but, well, HEROMARINE just kind of picked up and the tanks killed everything. And I'm very surprised we didn't see Stats go for the flank. Warp in a bunch of zealots, move them around, send one forward to eat all the tank fire, and go from there. But I guess Stats, he was panicking maybe just a little, and that is not exactly what happened. So now, game number 2. It looks like we're not seeing anything different for the moment. I'm kind of surprised. Well, I guess this is Lightshade. This is not the most insane map for the strat, but it's kind of funny. When this patch came out, when I think it's 5.05 is the current patch we're on, when it came out, and they buffed board race significantly, gave him a little bit more movement speed, made him cost less gas, all these things, Protoss players kind of realized that getting a 12 pylon, getting double gas, getting as fast as possible everything, and then just proxying a bunch of void rays with shield batteries on the other side of the map was nigh insurmountable. Now, of course, Terran players have gotten more used to it, and yes, Stats is much more of a macro Protoss than a player like Parting, for example. I'm still surprised we haven't really seen, and granted, it's only game 2, but I've cast a decent amount of Stats games recently, and I'm kind of surprised we don't see him using that style. Now, this is really nice, as this Adept will get in. Looks like the natural was delayed just long enough that the Adept will be able to get on top of it, and just barely, oh man, that was, that was close. Okay. Really nice move there. Of course, noticing, we noticed HEROMARINE offloaded his SCVs directly into the bunker. Something you can do. Actually, you can kind of make bunker transfer trains happen. Where did... Okay, the SCVs were just on top of each other. You can actually make bunker transfer trains, and funnily enough, so really high-tier optimized AIs that are not capped in terms of what they can see on the map at any given time. I mean, of course, they're capped by vision, but they're not capped in, you know, only having one camera, for example, and not capped in APM. They will go and they'll build a bunker between the the gases and the command center, and then they'll go and they'll just micro the SCVs out of the bunker, into and out of the bunker, as an efficiency trade. And it is actually, you mine gas a whole lot faster than making him travel, because of course getting into and out of bunkers is instantaneous. So a bunker train is theoretically the fastest possible reinforcements, faster even than Nidus, because, well, no Nidus is exactly part of the hatch, and you gotta wait for it to walk there, and there is an offload time that is much slower than the bunker's load-unload time. But now HEROMARINE in this game number 2 is kind of going for what we saw in game number 1. We do see that quick third command center. He is looking for just a more economic game, and this also surprised me just a little. Now, HEROMARINE, he's got strong macro chops, don't get me wrong, but he's a European Terran, and the amount of European Terran players I see just go for the 3 racks into a third command center. You hit that +1 stim combat shield timing. Well, it's significant. You see a lot of it. And yeah, it worked for HEROMARINE in game number 1, and I think also this is just a nod to how good defensively Stats is. Stats, of all the players that you can think of, is the one that, realistically, is the least likely to go and lose lose to that type of push. He's going to have everything he needs in position. He's really good at putting his Stalkers forward on the map, putting his Colossi forward on the map, so he can start to shave things off. And I think that's fair. HEROMARINE says, you know what, I respect Stats as a player. I'm just going to try to go into the late game. I'm going to try to take it to maybe a position that, yeah, maybe Stats is super comfortable in, but I think I'm pretty comfortable there too. As now we do see Stats with his Expeditionary Force moving across the map. Blink is done. Charge is now on the way. So this is Stats just trying to be a little bit aggressive, and this is going to work out well. If he gets aggressive, I think it's going to work out pretty well for him. Stim is only halfway done. How many tanks do we have? We have 1 tank on the map, and no more in production, not really. So Stats, should he wish, could actually get a decent amount of damage here, but he's more preoccupied by these Hellions that are just doing a really good job of being distracting and moving their way around the map, providing threat, even if realistically they're not going to get a whole lot done. The threat they provided on the map is, well, it's enough. That is exactly what HEROMARINE was looking for. And now the tank will start firing away. Stalkers will be forced back. And there we have it. Stim is just about done. This is interesting, though. So I'm saying, oh, hey, yeah, HEROMARINE's going for a similar build he did in game number 1. From a macro perspective, yeah, he did Proxy's Barracks. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The interesting thing is HEROMARINE has opted to go for that +1 Stim combat shield timing, but it's off of a 3 minutes and 30-second third base. This is not the normal timing. So generally when Terrans do this, they go and they hit their timing, and it's great. It's fine, it's dandy. And then as they're moving across the map, they start their third command center, and depending on how the game has gone, or they start floating it over, but that is not what we have here. HEROMARINE is already mining from his third base. He's been mining for a good bit of time. And if you look at economy here, he is pulled in a little bit of an economic lead once he drops those mules. And now he says, okay, +1 Stim combat shields. Now is my timing. I think this is a little bit less committed of a timing here. I mean, the army's not nearly as big. He will be able to deny the 4th base, and this is a good tank siege position once again. But you got to remember, these are 3 immortals. The Colossus is just about done. Charge is done, and I really don't think that HEROMARINE is going to be able to break through, much like he did in game number 1. But it is good to remind your opponent that you exist. It's good to remind your opponent that, well, that they can't be too greedy, that they cannot take your goodwill for granted, and that is exactly what we see here. Is HEROMARINE will snap an observer down, but he will be forced to back up. As a nice blink there forward, but also that well, I should say the medevacs, or I should say the Marine, doing a really good job scouting ahead of the Terran army, making sure that, well, he knows where it's safe and where it is not safe. As now that this drop's coming on into the main base, Blink will be able to knock one of these from the sky, just barely not getting the second. But now we have an army into the third base of Stats. Not a big one, but an army. As this big drop comes on into the main base here, and with the recall, I like this. Very little of that army was recalled, but it's just enough. I mean, with that recall, Stats will be able to keep the third base alive. But now we're starting to see the rally move on into the main base alive. Now we're seeing the rally move on into the third base. And while shield battery overcharge is a thing, the tank really won't be able to do a whole lot. This is HEROMARINE. He's trying to see if he can get the same type of damage he got in game number 1, but not really succeeding. But now he will find this 4th base, and once again, he should be able to cancel this. Although, well, the Colossi can go down. But the third base will actually get killed there. Stats not paying attention for the moment. And HEROMARINE just looking to get any sort of small trades he can, but now he will be forced to back up here. Starker's doing a really good job targeting the wounded medevac down. And actually what that means is now it's that much harder for this army to escape. Now they will be able to do so because Stim is a powerful thing, and Stim makes units go speedy, fast. But there's only room for 16 Marines and those 2 medevacs, or 8 total Marauders, and there is far more than that in that army. So now HEROMARINE looking to go down, but he will be forced back once again. And now HEROMARINE, he's doing a really good job of taking fights on 2 positions at once, and he's found himself at a 20 army supply lead here. Granted, the army of Stats is good. Stats is in a defensive position. He has shield battery. He has shield battery overcharge. I don't think HEROMARINE is going to break him here, but I do believe HEROMARINE is once again going to cancel the 4th base, and that just may be what it's necessary. HEROMARINE at this point, he does have his 4th base just about done, and Stats, he's been trying to get this 4th base for just the last, I don't even know how long, the last 4 minutes, last 3 minutes. And that is where it starts to get a little bit traumatic here. And once again, the 4th base will get killed. It will not get canceled. The Stats was so confident he was going to be able to hold it with that warpin, but I guess he wasn't paying attention as he was dealing with the army at his third. And those Widowmine shots will go off fairly nicely, and HEROMARINE will be forced to back up once again. But now we're seeing the supplies really balloon in favor of HEROMARINE here, as he's mining so much more than his opponent. And yeah, the Colossi are doing a good job. The time of the Widow Mines in the main army is kind of falling down, but this army once again will get chopped down, and HEROMARINE, he's got the 4th again. This is the 4th time that he will be able to knock this down, and once again, he kills it. This is the 3rd Nexus kill in this game for HEROMARINE, and a Nexus that should have been canceled, and now HEROMARINE taking some decent trades. Will not be able to knock the Colossi down, but will be able to knock down a couple of Immortals. But now Stats, taking a decent fight, will be able to remove both of HEROMARINE's armies from the map. But look at this. 3 Nexi have died. 3 Nexi. That is insane. That is what, like 1,200 plus minerals? His Widow Mine will sit there and knock off most of the shields of Zarkon. And now HEROMARINE says, oh, you know what? You are so paranoid about that 3rd base. Well, I don't think you have anything in your main base. And that would be a pretty fair assumption. As now he's going to unload 5 medevacs worth of an army into the main base here. Target whatever he can down. I do like targeting these pylons down on the off chance that maybe he supply block stats. And that is really good potential, as the Widow Mines will go off. And a lot of these charge lists do go down. But yeah, Stats will be forced, or excuse me, HEROMARINE will be forced to back up and not lose anything. I mean, he'll lose a couple medevacs or a couple Widow Mines, but will not lose any medevacs. And, well, now here we go. Once again, doing a really good job. Now he will find all the Colossi, and HEROMARINE's going to be able to target 2 of them down. Maybe not get, yeah, oh, he's going to get the 3rd Colossi. No, he will not. Just barely running out of army before that happens. But he's doing such a good job of resetting the army of Stats. That being said, though, Stats, the 4th base is up now. Stats will be able to start mining from it. But HEROMARINE, for the last, I don't know, 2 minutes, has been ahead in bases. Has been rather significantly ahead in economy in a game that the Protoss wants to be ahead from an economic perspective. That being said, though, it is 2-2 for 2-2. Plus 3 ground attack is just about done. And for the moment, HEROMARINE, his army is not that... I mean, it's good. It's even army supply, but it is not the dominant plus 30, plus 40 army supply force it was. And more importantly than that, HEROMARINE's army is on the other side of the map. I mean, yes, there's a little bit here, and we do see some nice EMPs going down. But the 3rd base will be forced to lift. 11 SCVs will go down in an instant, and HEROMARINE not exactly on top of things, stimming on into the 3rd base. Now he will do so, and the SCVs are going to get pulled here, as HEROMARINE looking to win 2 fights at once. 23 SCVs do go down, and I'm not sure that this is the fight HEROMARINE's looking for, but look at the army, it's clumped up. Do we have any EMPs? Looks like we don't at the moment, but HEROMARINE will be able to knock this 3rd base down, and now we're moving into base trade territory. And you know what they say, don't base trade a Terran. And yes, HEROMARINE has lost 31 SCVs, but he has 3 orbitals, and he has mules. So it's not exactly the end of the world that he's lost so many SCVs. Those Widow Mines! Sorry, excuse me. We're going to go back and get a little bit more steady here, as we do have now Stats moving on into the natural. SCVs are going to get pulled once again, and this is maybe not the best choke here for HEROMARINE, but he's still taking a decent fight. I would like to see some more EMPs go down, but it looks like he does not have the energy for that for the moment, as the Archons are getting targeted down, and there's just maybe not enough on the ground here for HEROMARINE. He's not taking the perfect fight. Now really relying on rallies to do that. But those Widow Mines. Those Widow Mines, just, okay. Words cannot describe just how juicy those Widow Mines were. Not a lot of probes go down, and so, those 3 Widow Mines killed like 35 probes. As the probes, of course, probes clump up when they move, especially when going to the same mineral patch, especially when getting right to the mineral patch at the same time. And when you got like 3 Widow Mines just kind of there, yeah, all the probes just evaporate. So now HEROMARINE, despite how good of a Widow Mine shot that was, I don't think he's going to have enough here, as Stats has enough economy. And there we have it. GG Stats is going to take game number 2. But those Widow Mine shots. Dear Lord, those Widow Mine shots. I'm in shock about I'm in shock about those Widow Mine shots. That was absolutely insane. But hey, it's a good series. That's what that means. And we got up to 3 more games remaining. HEROMARINE took game 1, Stats took game number 2. But this is a best of 5. It's a best of 3 now, I guess, as we're getting ready to move on into game number 3. It will be on Juggernaut. Excuse me, we'll be on Oxide. As apparently I cannot read the words that are on the screen, but that is fine. You're not here for... You're not watching me for my literacy. Surely not. You're here to see me talk about StarCraft or something like that, and game number 3. It is loaded up. And here we are in the upper right for the Afrika Freaks. It's stats. And his opponent in the bottom left, in the red from Mouse Esports, he is the German Wunderkind. He's HEROMARINE. All right, so stats, he's going on with a sneaky little probe in this game number 3. I don't believe, actually I didn't catch the pylon timing, but I don't believe this is proxy pointer. I think this is just a, I don't want to get proxied again, probe coming from our blue Protoss player. And yeah, that does make sense. This is a map that is fairly good for it. It's a decent amount of proxy positions, and, well, it's a short rush distance, so that doesn't make sense, but that is not what HEROMARINE is going to go for. But it's good for him that he's put the Fear of God into stats in this game number 3. Perhaps that will provide him the tiniest of advantages, because realistically, it's an advantage. It makes a difference, and the less you're mining earlier on, the less you're going to mine throughout the game, right? Because one probe out of 14 not mining, it has a whole lot more of an impact than one probe out of 65 not mining, 66 not mining. So the fact that Stats did decide to go send that probe out, looking onto the other side of the map, and, well, that does mean that maybe Stats is not going to saturate as quickly. Maybe mean that his Nexus is just slightly slower. Whatever the case may be, it is annoying for the blue Protoss player because there was nothing there. That being said, though, Stats, notice that he has a shield battery going down in the main base. That means he's going to look to move across the map with his Adept and maybe delay the command center. As HEROMARINE, you sneaky, you dog. Oh, this is disgusting. Notice, take a look at the production tab. You will notice that there is not, well, I should say there is not, excuse me, that is not a mistake. 2 barracks coming down, or excuse me, 2 command centers coming down right now. Now we have a second barracks coming down behind this, so we're gonna see a build that is rarely seen. This is, I believe, now I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, so be it, because I like seeing funky builds, and that's one of these situations where I'm absolutely happy to be wrong. I think this is going to be a mass barracks, mass marine, just one of those almost gasless builds that doesn't make a lot of sense until you see it working. You're like, oh, okay, it's just use so many units so early because you have such an early economy. And now these Adepts will go on in, and nice micro here from HEROMARINE, making sure that he doesn't lose too much. Now, the Marines will go down eventually, but not before this Adept does take it down, and that is going to be a pretty good trade for our Terran player. Yeah, he'll lose 3 Marines, but 2 Adepts will go down as well. Stats loses his pressure on the map, loses his scouting on the map. And that is that. Now, the one downside to this for our red Terran player, excuse me, is he will not have a lot of Marines for the ensuing Oracle follow-up. The Oracle follow-up that is moving across the map right now. So that is 3 Marines in the main base, and that is all the Marines that we have on the map. So with his Oracle coming on into the main base, Stats is going to force a decision. He's going to say, hey, do you have Marines in the main and the natural? What are you going to do here? You going to pull SCVs? How are you going to defend this, bud? And, well, honestly, 4 Marines is not enough to defend against Oracles. You want 6. 6 Marines in Mineral Line, that's what you do. But Stats, he'll run out of energy. And that is that. So it looks like Stats behind this is interested in going into a Phoenix Colossus type of style. And I don't blame him. It's a good style. If HEROMARINE wants to play as drop heavy as he did in game number 2, absolutely, that's something that he can make use of. And on the flip side, it gives him some agency on the map, allows him to get a little bit of harassment here. Now the Oracle will run on in, and with the missile turret coming in here, that is actually rather surprising, as you don't tend missile turrets this early against a single Oracle. Generally, you just see it held with Widow Mines or Marines, but I guess because of the dearth of really anything, because of how realistic this is, yeah, because of how quick this is. It's 5 minutes, and only just now we're getting a factory getting completed. This is so freakishly greedy from the German Terran player. I'm not sure I can put into words how greedy this is. Stim will be finishing before, well, Stim will be finishing before the starport is done. And that is absolutely insane, is that we have two more barracks on the way, going up to 5 barracks, which you might say, hey, Beowulf, that looks like an all-in. It's not. It's not, because HEROMARINE got his third base, or excuse me, he started building his third base at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You don't do that. Apparently, if you're HEROMARINE and you just want to be as greedy as possible and play into Stats' penchant for not getting aggressive, you do. So now this will be 5 barracks off of 3 command centers, and the game is just about kind of where it would normally be, except HEROMARINE got there that much faster. He's so much greedier in this game, and now he's going to go try to snap down a Phoenix. Will not be able to do so. There'll be missile turrets coming on down. And here we stand. Colossi are now on the way for Stats, as now he's getting ready to move into most likely Blink behind this. Actually, you know, we may see him go charge into Blink, just because it is so late in the game, and Blink Stalkers are not quite as useful as they are anymore, especially considering Phoenix kind of filled the role of Blink Stalkers as a drop deterrent of a way to get on top of Phoenix, or on top of Vikings and things like that. So we may see that be the case. Yeah, there we go. Charge is on the way. That just makes a lot of sense. Phoenix, it feels like in modern TVP, you either get Phoenix or Stalkers, and Stats did decide to go for Phoenix. And interestingly enough, Stats has decided to overbuild Phoenix, and I'm not going to say overbuild is it's not a bad thing, but it's more like the common number of Phoenix to get in Phoenix Colossus is 5. That's the magic number. That's kind of what the build calls for. Stats really likes going to 8 or 9. He likes having that extra utility, the ability to harass more, to lift more Marauders, to maybe knock medevacs down faster, all those fun things. And now we do see HEROMARINE. Well, it's now he's getting aggressive on the map here. Phoenix will find this and says, okay, well, you can't really make this drop happen. Oh, it looks like he's going to try to do it anyways. That is a ballsy hot pickup. Indeed. As now we have a drop coming in on the left-hand side as well. But with, yeah, Stats showcasing why he is the Shield of Ire way is so difficult to come on in and really get something done against him. He's buttoned in on 3 bases. And HEROMARINE, he's trying. He's absolutely trying, but I think I would prefer to see him drop at the 4th command center, just kind of progress on into that game, as he's not really he really hasn't put himself in a position to really get a whole lot of damage done. Now this drop will be forced back. Now this is a big unload here, and this is 4 medevacs worth of army, so Stats does have to be a little bit careful, but with Stats' entire army here, no big deal. Nil novi subs, or that's not deal. Anyway, we're going to quote some Latin, but I forget what the Latin I need to quote is, what is exactly relevant here, so pretend you were enlightened, YouTube. Pretend you were enlightened. As now, look at this. So this is 8 Phoenix, which that appears to be Stats' magic number, even if it's not the build magic number. And that means that there is no drop that's going to come on in through that right-hand side, and Stats, you just keeping his army on the left-hand side. And this means Stats can now take a 4th. Now, we do have a 4th coming on in for HEROMARINE as well, as we do progress into the next step of the game. Blink is on the way. Extended Thermal Lance is now done at just about 9 minutes into this game, but we do have Ghost on the way here. And for the first time, Stats actually is taking a fight, and this is going to be a really good one. Just lifts on top of everything. Phoenix mean that you just can't run away. That being said, though, now HEROMARINE, he's got 2 armies on the map at once. And yes, this is a Charged Lot Archon army, but this is just the type of army that a Charged Lot Archon army does not want to fight. Couple Widow Mines, a bunch of Marauders and Marines. Not really going to be a good fight. But now the Phoenix will just go and pick everything up and just start targeting things down. Now the Phoenix don't kill Marauders all that fast, but well, Charged Lots are there. And once again, HEROMARINE, he's just kind of bleeding off units. And there we have it. Spending just about twice as much in this game as his opponent in terms of units lost. Now, he is into Viking production now, but he does need more than the 4 that are on the way. How many Vikings does he have? So he has 2. He will need more than 6. Traditionally, it's about 3 or 4 Viking per Colossus. That number does go up when you're dealing against Phoenix Colossus, explicitly, especially when it's 8 Phoenix Colossus, not the 5 that's kind of standard. And now Stats is in a pretty good siege position here. He has found the inside route into this 3rd base, and he will just be able to start sieging away. Now, there are only 2 Vikings on the field for the moment. We should start to see more and more join here rather soon. But now Stats is committing. He has allowed his Zealots to get on top of the army. And that is going to be a fairly nice force as the Zealots, or excuse me, as the Phoenix, they are firing away more and more of the air army. The Medivacs, the Vikings, they are falling down. Now, the Colossi are not exactly firing where they need to. Not really making contact with the army. And stats, it looks like maybe he's overcommitted just a little bit now. There's not enough here for HEROMARINE. Not enough to deal with these Colossi. They are standing supreme. And 17 SCVs have gone down. HEROMARINE's economy is broken as the rest of the SCVs have been found. They will do what they can to repair the command center. And that is a worthy way to spend their lives. But they're still going to lose 30. There were 33 SCVs at that base. That does not seem like a wise, but I guess it makes sense. You overbuild SCVs at their base so you can transfer them over to the fourth base immediately. And HEROMARINE just caught with his fans down. Now sitting here, down 32 workers, down 10 army supply. Now he is up on upgrades, rather significantly so. Although that's going to change rather soon. As stats, his +1 armor is just about done, +2 attack is just about done. And I would not be surprised to see HEROMARINE kind of go for an SCV type pull coming on in here with 4 ghosts on the way. All of a sudden, he may be in a position where he really can hit a timing. Now, it's not going to be the best, and enhanced shockwaves won't be done, so not really, but yeah, no, he's not going to belay that order. He's not going to go for that. As interesting as I thought it might be. Even more interesting, though, is the fact that HEROMARINE, I guess because his third base was coming under pressure, decided to turn his fourth base into an orbital. So now he has 4 orbitals on the map. No planetaries, no really strong stalwart defensive position to defend into. But also maybe just because, I mean, late game TVP, especially the style that Stats is kind of building into, relies on a lot of charge lot DT run-bys. And it often feels a lot better to just lift the command center and run the SCVs than it does to have a planetary that will inevitably just get blinked onto and killed by a bunch of Dark Templars. So maybe that is HEROMARINE's idea, as he just kind of preemptively moves on into things. But for that to matter, he has to be able to defend himself. He has to be able to defend his holdings in the next minute or two. And I'm not totally convinced he will be able to. Right now, upgrades are even. It's 2-1 versus 2-1. Now, I don't know. This is something I always ask myself. Why are Protoss upgrades so weird? We have armor is in front of attack, where attack is in front of armor and left to right in every other race. Every other race has a... hold this up. Stalkers looking to take a fight will not be able to do so. Every other race has a kind of standard color convention. +1 is green for Zerg, +2 is purple, +3 is red. For Terran, +1 is kind of a greenish, +2 is a bluish, +3 is a reddish. For Protoss, well, if it's attack, +1 is yellow, +2 is green, +3 is blue. If it's armor, +1 is yellow, +2 is blue, +3 is also blue. I don't know what's up with the design decisions for Protoss upgrades. Doesn't make any sense to me. But now HEROMARINE looking to get a fight here. And now he's a decent amount of... Oh, those EMPs are going to land really nicely here as these Vikings are firing away. All the Stalkers will go down. Or excuse me, all of the Phoenix will go down. And HEROMARINE actually taking a really good fight here with +1 ship weapons that are done. And now he will be forced to rotate around. But now he's found the inside track into the Protoss third base. Now, of course, at this point in the game, it's better to lose your third than your fourth. But now these Vikings, they found a really good position on the doodad, on the high ground. But the DTs there are DTs, they are getting warped in to be able to defend things. Now, the question is whether we should have enough EMPs to be able to deal with this. And Stats is just doing a really good job of fighting forward, fighting back. The DT's starting to shell away. We do need an EMP on top of them. But now the Stalkers will get on top of all of these Vikings, but there are just too many Vikings here. The Colossi will go down, but this is a full surround of the Terran army. Whether it has enough to stand up, it looks like it does not. And GG. Stats is going to take game number 3 with an incredible DT charge lot surround. Archons just laying the splash damage down. And what a great fight from Stats there to end game number 3 in style. And now we're getting ready to move on to game number 4 of this series. I personally am hoping for a HEROMARINE victory here because I like game 5s. Game 5s make me excited. And yeah, I like game 5s. Who doesn't, right? Well, I should say I like game 5s and best of 5s. I like game 7s and best of 7s. The rubber match, the ace match, it just got a little bit more tension to it, especially when we're sitting here in the lower bracket. And that is exactly where we are. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. And our game number 4 on Juggernaut, it's all loaded up. Let's go. Here we are, spawning in the bottom left. In the blue for the Afrika Freaks on match point. He's stats. And in the upper right, in the red, from Germany, he's the biggest of Gabes. He's HEROMARINE. But yeah, to continue my complaints from game number 1, end game design. Dota is a really good example of this. There should be really good consistency, but also really specific things that mean things. So Dota sound design is really a really good example of this, where if you know the game and you just listen to what's happening, you can kind of tell exactly how the team fight is going. You can tell what's happening. You know which hero is doing what. Very few audio assets are reused. And Dota kind of used to be like visually as well, but with additional skins and hats and maybe not as much anymore, but having clearly distinct graphical and audio inputs is so important for an RTS, for ARTS, whatever, a MOBA, whatever you want to call it, but specifically for an esport. It's useful for the observer to know at a glance exactly what's happening. It's useful for the player. It's necessary for the player to be able to at a glance know exactly what is happening. So that is why it becomes just that frustrating when two races have these very clear visual upgrade identities, and Protoss is just like, we threw some colors at a board. It's fine. I like blue. It's okay. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But you know what? That's a decision that cannot be changed. I just hope Frost Giant does better. But now here we are in this game number 4. Statsy's got that lead. Looks like once again he is interested in moving across the map with this first adept, as we do see this shield battery coming on into the main base, which all this does is it buys... Oh, HEROMARINE. Once again. Going for the greed. The greed indeed. There's probably another rhyme there, but I am lacking it. Anyway, we do see Stats getting ready to move on in. Now, with these 3 Marines, and it is only 1 adept, so it's not really a ton of damage that Stats is going to be able to get done here. Now, eventually, yeah, theoretically, maybe the adept trade's a little bit better, but Stats does want to keep that adept alive. Does want to keep the pressure available, as we should see. Actually, it looks like he did not go for a second adept in this game, just instead going for a stalker and going for, well, we see a Twilight Council on the way. We see a really quick robo. Actually, I guess that's not that quick. It should be 3-gate blink, 2 or 3-gate blink coming on in from the Protoss players. He looks to maybe be a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit more defensive. We'll have to see how many gates he decides to throw down. Of course, 1 to 2 gate, that's just, I want a quick third. 3 gate is, I want a decently timed third, but I want to have an opportunity to be aggressive. 4 gate is, yeah, I want to kill you. So we're going to have to see exactly what happens with that. As looks like we're going to stay on 2 gates for the moment. And given Stats proclivities, that does make a lot of sense. As this, once again, we're seeing the same build we saw last game, and I feel like this is HEROMARINE saying, you know what, I kind of got away with that greed last time. I just misplayed later on. I think I'm going to do it again. I think it worked out well for me. I think I can probably hit maybe a little bit crisper. And I don't hate it. In fact, this is this is going to be a little bit more interesting. I think HEROMARINE he's getting his timings just a little bit faster than we saw in the first game. And of note, HEROMARINE, he's only down 4 SCVs at 420 in the game at a time where Stats really wants to be ahead significantly. He's spending all this chrono into his workers, and that means that he really would like to be rather significantly ahead in work ground, not just 2. And in fact, this is in a normal game when you're like, oh, hey, how did the damage happen? This is one of those games where you say, wow, the Terran's only 1 SCV behind. That is really bad for the Protoss. right? Because mules are a thing, and well, that kind of happens. In this game, I'm not sure it's really bad, quote unquote, but it's not great. As now Stats will get his third base up by 5 minutes, so at least Stats is being equally greedy on the other side of the map. He is able to match things just a little, but we're not seeing that rather significant economic lead from the Protoss through the first 6 minutes that we're used to. And in fact, HEROMARINE with mules is in a really good economic position here. He even has an income lead as he does drop those mules on the natural. Of course, it does make sense. You want to drop, actually, can't we see HEROMARINE, what we're talking about, spreading out the mules across the 2 bases. You want to make sure that you don't just like mine one base out in its entirety. Too much with your mule hammer. But now we have Stim just about done, as we're going to start to see our first medevacs coming on out. 3 more barracks, well, I guess that third barracks did complete, but 2 more barracks on the way, going up to 5 racks. And again, this is just the really greedy, the greediest possible version of getting to your third command center, getting to your 5 racks, third CC. Well, as greedy, as efficiently as possible. As now this army will go forward. Now, Stats does have Blink on this. He's trading really nicely against this army. Yes, Stim is done, and that means he maybe can't bait straight up by the army, but he can blink forward, he can blink back, and he can absolutely just trade, well, lose 1 stalker for a whole lot more than that. So now HEROMARINE, he's got his third, but a push timing, not really forthcoming, not as easily. That being said, looks like HEROMARINE does disagree with that assessment, as combat shields is just about halfway done. Do we have concussive shells? No, we don't. But combat shields are on the way. It's +1 shield, +1 armor is on the way as well. And now our HEROMARINE, this is just about a double drop's worth of units. It's a little more than that, but oh, never mind. It is a double drop. I did my math wrong. So we have double drop looking to get on into the main base here. Now these are 4 stalkers, so HEROMARINE will see that and back up. Not exactly the, yeah, I should say it is a prudent choice coming from the Terran players. Like, you know what? I'm already greedy as hell. I don't need to throw away 2 medevacs worth of stuff. I think if I do that, I'm just going to lose the game in the counterattack. And I can't say I disagree. So now it looks like he's moving into that stage of the game where he just wants to get really drop heavy. We do have an army situated on the left. Now, of course, that cannot be activated quite yet. Actually, no, with this medevacs, looks like they're going to join up with this force. And HEROMARINE may be more interested in getting a full-on attack. I mean, this left-hand side, there's not really a whole lot for him to find here. Although maybe he's hoping Stats has moved away by now, but no, Stats is, what is that, 8 stalkers? No. 10 stalkers here, situated properly. It's a couple of Marines will move on in, and this is enough stalkers to one-tap my medevac. The question is whether Stats is paying attention. More importantly, the scan will go in, and here Marines will say, nope, I don't want to do that whatsoever. That is a little bit too rich for my blood. I would agree. That is just about too rich for anyone's blood. But now HEROMARINE, he's getting on the map. We do have an army on the left, an army on the right. HEROMARINE, he's going to stim on in just a little. Looking to see if maybe he can pick off some stragglers, but that's not really going to be the case. As now this army is on the right-hand side. What do we have here? Really nothing defensively for the moment, but a bunch of charge loss moving their way over. But HEROMARINE, he's just what he's trying to do here, and actually has been successful for the moment. That's not the army. We'll ping-pong back. Is just really trying to ping-pong Stats into 2 sides, just back and forth, back and forth. Now, Juggernaut is a long map. It is difficult to get rallies across the map with any sort of frequency. And these bases are not too far apart from each other. Now, the main from the third is kind of far, but the fourth from the third, not terrible. Pretty easy to circulate if you're paying attention, if you know what you're doing, and Stats absolutely does. So now we have this drop coming on in here. We'll be forced to pick up. Widow Mines will go off. And there we go. Army on the left-hand side. HEROMARINE's thinking about it, but will not activate that just yet. Alright, so there is a timing in just about a minute and a half, where HEROMARINE will have 2-2 versus the 2-0 of his opponent. And that is maybe the timing he's looking to hit, as Stats has really not gotten that second forge. Not really. Not with any speed or efficiency. So he will have +2, and he will go into +3 behind that most likely. But again, 2-2 versus 2-0. Yes, Stats will have a bigger army because he did not decide to buy those 2 upgrades in the forge. But on the flip side, as the game goes on, that army will maybe not be able to trade quite as efficiently as HEROMARINE's army will be, especially considering, well, the Colossi, they're going to get snapped down from the skies. We have +1 ship weapons are on the way. And that is going to be a decent amount of Vikings. 8 total Vikings. It looks like we're going to be at just about 8, maybe 10, but that makes sense because there are 2 Colossi on the map. And the math, again, it's 4 Vikings for any 1 Colossus. HEROMARINE well aware of this, of course, and he is in a pretty good position to take this fight. 2-2, not done, but ship weapons are done in 5 seconds. HEROMARINE absolutely is going to look to wait for that. And if he can wait for +2 attack, more is the better. If he can wait for enhanced shockwaves, more is the better. Now the 4th base is done. 5th base is now getting started here. And HEROMARINE, he's just doing a really good job of establishing his late game idea, his late game position into this game in a much better way than he did in game number 3. And I think it's looking pretty good for him, as Stats has kind of realized also that, yeah, this game is going late. Dark Shrine on the way. Disruptor's now adding on to the slash damage of the Protoss army. And that's a big run by moving on into the 3rd base. Now, this bunker positioning is actually really nice to know. Well, we have HEROMARINE taking a fight on the left-hand side. And, of course, the Vikings, they're just sharking away, looking for whatever sort of damage they can get. Now, it looks like Stats or HEROMARINE will be able to take this base. And the bunker, as well placed as it is, will not be able to hold off, what is that, 12, 14 Zealots. And actually will force the entire army back home. And, yeah, I don't disagree with that. This is just an unmanageable run by with rally. So now the army will find its way back. But actually, no, HEROMARINE says, no, it is time to go forward. I'm going to accept this damage that I'm going to take. Sure, but my rally should be able to deal with it. And I'm going to be able to knock off your 6th base, it looks like, from Stats here. 13 SCVs do go down, so HEROMARINE does have to be careful. That first Disruptor shot will not get what it needs to get done, though. And actually, oh, this is unfortunate. A rich supply depot will get taken down as well. So there we go. HEROMARINE, he is supply blocked, but the Vikings, they are shelling away and not really getting what they need for the moment. +2 ship weapons on the way. Would not be surprised to see HEROMARINE move on into Liberators behind this. Now the run by is finally done. HEROMARINE, he's really up on supply here, actually. As the Colossi do go down, the Vikings stand strong. There's not a whole lot of splash. What is this? I believe it's 1 Disruptor left available. But you gotta wait for the rallies. That is the important thing. The Stats, he is mining on 5 bases. He does have a pretty good economic position for himself in this game, even if he did lose that 6th base, I believe it is. All right, so we should see some. Actually, we see some great EMPs coming across the Protoss army at this point. And that's going to lean forward. Yeah, 1 medevac will go down immediately. But now HEROMARINE says, okay, well, you know what? Who's boxing who in here? All right, so now we see Disruptors going off every which way. But HEROMARINE, he's doing a really good job of splitting against this. As Stats, his army supply is just falling down. It is falling in off a cliff. And yes, there are Disruptors still alive, but that is not really the story of this game, as the army, well, Stats' army, the bulk of it is falling apart. All the Immortals have died, and yeah, HEROMARINE will be forced back, but look at this. He is 25 army supply up. He has a superior economy. Yes. Stats has a superior economy. But actually, no, you know what? Stats actually just has a better economy. What am I saying? Ignore my blathering. Anyway, Stalkers will be able to blink forward, knock off another medevac. Nice for them. But this is now 3-2 versus 3-1. And once again, HEROMARINE on the right-hand side of the map, which means Stats could theoretically expand to the left, but it's not what he's gonna want to do. And that is a lot of Dark Templar getting in on top of this planetary, but the repair is good. And, well, the blink is not really there. I do like this. Notice from Stats, he's not really going and doing the mass blink on top of the planetary like he would normally do, and that is, unfortunately for Stats, that will get cleaned up. Anyway, he's not doing the one big blink on top of the planetary that you sometimes see. Instead, he's just blinking 1 DT at a time over to the other side to mess with the planetary aggro, and that's a really good idea. It's not really going to work out for him, though, as now Stats will lose his 4th base. Now, he would lose his 5th base if it was there, but it's not there. So anyway, and now with this triple Liberator zone, this is not, and the EMP is on top of everything, this is not a good fight for Stats to take. Now, the Liberators will eventually go down, but look at what cost is now HEROMARINE. He's doubling the army supply of Stats, now getting ready to stim on into the natural, and he's going to try at the very least. Now, Disruptors do make the chase difficult. They do make the chase of this army rather difficult, and Stats will be able to hit another warp end round. Now he's only 30 supply down instead of 50. So maybe that's something he can leverage here, but he really doesn't have the economy that he's looking for to play this late game charge lot DT style. That is so cool. And actually, no, the Terran Army's going to get on top of the disruptors. One will get targeted down, second one will get targeted down, third will get targeted down, but not before it goes off. Oh no, HEROMARINE misclicking just a little. Absolutely had an opportunity to just knock down all three of those disruptors before they went off, but I'm not sure it matters anyways, as the Terran Army winning the fight on the right-hand side, winning the fight on the left-hand side too. That disruptor will not get targeted down. Oh, there will. The one Marauder, the Hero Marauder deputized, trading his life for the last disruptor. And the army. Now there are only 2 disruptors on the map. Not a lot of splash damage. As a bunch of DTs will get warped in on the left-hand side. But the Widowmine has recharged. Planetary Fortress is fully alive, and I don't think that base goes down. Now, once again, Liberators will siege up. Of course, these are +2 Liberators. They are scary. Now, the Disruptors actually forcing the army into a corner, but not really able to take advantage of it. And there we have it. GG HEROMARINE is going to take game number 4. You know, I'm sitting here watching this series, and I'm like, you know, stats. HEROMARINE's good, but Stats is a really good player. I mean, HEROMARINE's won 23 EPTs. He is a good player in his own right. I should not take him lightly in the slightest. And shame on me for doing so, because he's shown us some incredible games thus far. And now it's game 5. It's the rubber match. It is the ace match that makes me all nice, warm, and tingly inside. Will be on Pillars of Gold. Players are tied up 2-2. Winner goes on to play Zest. Loser falls from the tournament. Let's go. And here we are, spawning in the bottom left. In the blue for the Afrika Freaks, perhaps for the last time. It's Stats. And his opponent in the upper left, in the upper right, in the red for Mouse Esports. He's HEROMARINE. All right. Do we see any player doing anything crazy here in this game number? Yeah, we do. There it goes. I talked about the Proxy Void Ray and the strength of the Proxy Void Ray, and Stats has realized that, wait a minute here, HEROMARINE, he's been a greedy, greedy boy. He has gone for this 230 third command center the last 2 games. He thinks he's got me figured out. If he goes for that, there's no way he holds this. But anyway, I think I'm just going to drop a Void Ray on his face. I think I'm going to go and proxy the Stargate, proxy the Void Ray, start pushing some shield batteries forward, and just make HEROMARINE's life rather miserable. Now, HEROMARINE is going for a Reaper expand on the map, and that already makes his hold a little bit sketchy, makes it a little bit more difficult for him to do. Of course, it's holdable. There was a period in time where people were saying that, yeah, if you go 2 base Terran, if you go for the Reaper expand, this build is just not holdable. Now, that's not quite true. It is more technical, it is more tricky, and you have to find it. And notice here, Stats, he has not gone for the more the more aggressive position here or here, where it's a little bit more scoutable. But oh no, HEROMARINE, the Reaper, he knows something's up. He saw the SCV scout saw what's up. So now this Reaper will find this Stargate before the Stargate is done, which means the Reaper should be able to target the pylon down. Now, this probe has been way out of the way, so that does mean it will be most likely be able to run on in, repower, drop another pylon, repower the Stargate, and that is a pretty good thing to do, as we do have the Adept now getting ready to move across the map. What do we have? So the factory is on the way. Bunkers are now on the way for HEROMARINE here. Now, okay, so the probe will go down, but with the addition of the second pylon, this will not, the Void Rays will not be stopped. As now, oh no, the Adept has found, the Adept has gotten across early enough. I wouldn't even be surprised if, yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if he cancels the command center. I mean, there's no way he's going to get it at this point, not with Void Rays on the map. Absolutely not. So, at the very least, HEROMARINE will be able to knock down one of these pylons. The second one will complete, and the first Void Ray will hit the map. Now, we have the Tech Lab on the way. Oh, no! Oh, actually, no. I guess this was a little bit of a trick play. Now, we do see SCVs get kind of sent on in there, making sure that this command center does complete. But now with the 2 Adepts here, yeah, this command center will not complete. And unfortunately, the SCVs have just kind of sold out to make sure that that does happen, and now that it's not, well, these two adepts will never allow another command center to complete. Now, we also have Marines going down. So Magfield Accelerator is the name of the game. We have an eBay coming on in here too. So this will be a one factory Magfield missile turret defense. That's a new one. It's not something I see all that often, and I worry that we've already hit critical mass here. Now, the first Cyclone is out, and it's doing a really good job targeting down the wounded Void Ray, but I mean, look how much damage it took. Meanwhile, this command center needs to be canceled. HEROMARINE needs the money, and he's never going to be able to get that. There we go. We'll get canceled. But unfortunately, HEROMARINE committed so much to try to actually get that off that it's not. That was not the proper decision. And I understand why he did that. I understand why he wanted to do that. But that is not the proper move here. And now this is really cool. So this is one of the evolutions we've seen in this style over the last several weeks, last month and a half, where you don't see that massive Void Ray commitment that we see that we saw sometimes. Now, this will get scouted, so maybe HEROMARINE will be able to deal with this a little bit differently. But you don't see that massive Void Ray commitment. Instead, you see a bunch of Phoenix coming in after the Void Rays. So the Phoenix runs in and just goes and lifts the Cyclone. Cyclone gets snapped down by the overcharged Void Rays, and you go from there. Generally, it's 3 Void Rays, though, not 2. What Pig would call a Chad of Void Rays. But now here we are. The Void Ray is going home. The Phoenix, now they're looking to see what they can. Maybe get snap up some SCVs, do whatever the damage that they can hope to do. But behind this, I mean, stats kind of going in, kind of going into a kind of just going into some sort of Phoenix Colossus opener now. I don't believe this. Yeah, this Phoenix will not get out, so it will only be 4 Phoenix. And if Stats wants to commit to Phoenix a little bit more, he will have to build another Stargate, which he may or not do. And yeah, excuse me, it is not a Chad of Void Rays. Void Rays are the Chads. It's an alpha of Void Rays. I misspoke. The most important technical terminology. Well, we got to make sure that happens. As now HEROMARINE says, okay, well, I'm not getting a natural. Not in this game. I have some nice upgrades. I have a decent-sized army. Let's pull them boys. The boys, they're getting pulled. And the question is whether Stats will be able to defend this. He does have 1 shield battery, but while shield batteries don't work all that well against tanks, not really. Now the push is coming on in. Now we will see some lock-ons immediately on top of these Phoenix, and that's actually really good for Stats because it really, lock-ons don't do a ton against Phoenixes. Not compared to, say, Void Rays or something. And now, well, we're going to just have that Stats. He's taking the fight right here. The probes have been pulled. The tank is going to get targeted down immediately. And as well as the Vikings will get targeted down here. Now, there are just Marines left. And with the Void Rays, with the Stalkers, with the probes fighting hard, it looks like Stats just barely has enough. The medevac is getting targeted down as well. Sure, there are some reinforcing Cyclones, but that is not going to be enough. As Stats, he has what he needs here. He has what he needs to progress on to the next round. And he will fight Zest in the next round of TSL6.